Welcome friends, let us try to move ahead on chapter number 2, that is ionization and electrochemistry. Okay, in the last lecture whatever we have discussed, that let us try to recollect all that things and move ahead. We have seen that the physical properties that play very important role in the conductivity are here Ohm's law, specific conductivity, specific resistance. All these are the physical properties that play very important role in conductivity. In that we have seen already that the first is our Ohm's law. That was the strength of the current that was flowing through conductor is proportional to potential difference that was applied across the conductor and inversely proportional to resistance of the conductor. Okay, this one has to remember. This is our Ohm's law, that is very important part. Second thing that you can see here very clearly, that is our resistance of the conductor is basically directly proportional to length of the conductor and inversely related to area of the cross section. In that, if you remove the proportionality sign and if you substitute a constant, that is basically rho, okay, this is known as specific resistance, and this depends on the material that you are choosing. So L here is length of conductor, A is the area of the cross section. Moving to the third definition, that was our specific resistance, that you can see very clearly that specific resistance is resistance of uniform column of material of conductor having length 1 cm and area of the cross section 1 cm square. If you see here R equal to rho L upon A, then if I want to find out the value of rho, then I can find out here rho equal to A upon AR upon L. A is area, R is resistance, L is length of the conductor. So I know that area unit is centimeter square, R that is resistance unit is ohm, and L that is length of conductor unit is centimeter. So I can write here rho equal to centimeter dot ohm, that is the unit of the specific resistance. Okay. So coming to the now specific conductance, very important concept that is basically related to specific conductance kappa, that is the inverse of the specific resistance. You know that rho was your specific resistance, so if I take a reciprocal of that, okay, I am going to get the conductance. So what I am going to write, you know that rho value is AR upon L. So now it is inverse, so it will become L upon AR. You know L is the length of conductor, so that is expressed in centimeter. A is area of the conductor, that is expressed basically in centimeter square. R is the resistance of the conductor, that is expressed in ohm. Okay, so this is equal to R equal to 1 upon centimeter dot ohm. So you can write specific conductance kappa equal to centimeter inverse ohm inverse. So now you will be getting very clear idea that specific resistance that was having unit of ohm inverse, centimeter inverse, and now the unit of this particular case is very different. Okay, so now you can relate all the concepts specific resistance, specific conductance, Ohm's law, and molar conductance, how this conductance are going to change with the dilution. All these things can be related by learning from the above sessions. Let us try to move ahead. Now, mathematical form of the Faraday's law. What you can see here, the mathematical form basically here is very important. What was the law stating? If you try to recollect the lines, you know the weight of substance basically that is liberated at the electrode is directly proportional to the quantity of the current passed. That was our Faraday's law. Okay, now let us try to put it down into some mathematical form. You can see here W is weight of the substance, Q is quantity of the electricity passed. Okay, so that is basically equal to I into T. What is I? I is current, T is time. For current passed in that particular time, that product is going to give the quantity of the electricity passed. Now if you see here, weight of the substance that is liberated at electrode is directly proportional to the Q. So now Q value is I into T. So we can write here I into T. I is the current, T is the time. So if I want to remove proportionality sign, I can put equal sign by substituting it with Z, that is our electrochemical equivalent. Okay, electrochemical equivalent is basically, we have already seen that it is the mass of the substance liberated when 1 ampere current is passed for 1 second. That has to be kept in the mind. That is our Faraday's mathematical form of the first law that one has to keep in the mind. So this Z is your electrochemical equivalent, okay, and I is the current, T is the time, W is the weight of substance, Q is quantity of the current passed. Let us try to move ahead. If you see here, we are trying to describe, in the above sessions we have clearly seen what is electroplating, we have seen what is electrotyping. Now we will be discussing what is electrorefining. These all processes are very important as from the industry point of view, and this all process help us basically to purify our metals which is obtained, and we can use it for the higher applications. Let us try to move ahead with that. Look here to the diagram of the electrorefining. The diagram appears something similar to the electrotyping, but it's not so. Care has to be taken while studying the diagram. Look here. This is my impure copper block. Okay, we are getting a impure copper. Okay, what we are trying to do, this electrorefining process is basically helping us to purify our metals. Okay, so this is used for the purifying the metals, that is we are doing the metal refining by this process. Now what is the procedure, how to do it? Let us try to understand the process. We can see here very clearly that we are taking that our impure metal that was obtained, okay, we are putting that impure metal block as an anode here. So anode is basically your positively charged electrode and cathode is your negatively charged electrode. So that particular metal which has to be purified is acting as an anode. Now what we are doing, we are taking the similar pure form of that particular metal here as a cathode. If you see here, copper block here is impure, okay, and here we are having pure copper block. Now this is basically acting as your cathode. Okay, so this one has to see. Now what happens? The step that is used, first the basic fundamental from this diagram, our electrolyte here is copper sulfate. Our block of the copper, that is impure block, is acting as an anode. Our pure block is acting as a cathode. Here is the anode mode, okay, that is getting deposited. I will discuss what is this anode mode later on, but this diagram has to be drawn. Let us try to put diagram into some words now. Look here, use of the electrorefining for the metal purification purpose. Impure block that acts as an anode, pure copper block is going to act as a cathode, and electrolyte is copper sulfate solution. Now when you are passing current, okay, you are passing current to this, what happens in the process? Look to the diagram. I am passing current through this solution. Now what will happen? The impure copper here, okay, gets oxidized and passes to this solution of the copper sulfate. Okay, after oxidation, impure copper gets passed to the solution of copper sulfate, and from this copper sulfate it travels to the cathode. Okay, so finally pure form of the metal is going to get accumulated at our cathode. This one has to remember this point in mind. You can see here now the words, that is equivalent amount of the copper from the solution goes towards the cathode. Okay, this is what is said. Whenever you are passing current, then what happens? Copper from at the anode gets oxidized and passes from the solution and goes to the cathode. Now what happens? As our pure metal is getting deposited at the cathode, it is but obvious that the weight of the cathode is going to increase. So during this process, you can clearly see the weight of this cathode is going to increase and the weight of anode is going to reduce. This one has to remember. Now what is the next point? That is discussion about the anode mode. What does the diagram says? You can say the other impurities are also present along with this impure copper block. Okay, these particular impurities always gets connected at the anode. Okay, as they are impurity, they always get settled toward the anode copper block, and this is known as anode mode. There are chances that you can see in the diagram here, that is this is your anode mud. Okay, anode mud is impurities that are get collected near our impure copper block that was acting as an anode during electro refining process. Okay, there are chances that gold and silver may be found in this anode mud. So this precious metals may be found in this anode mud. For that, this anode mud has to be processed before throwing out, and metals, precious metals, if they are found like gold, silver, then they have to be removed and purified separately. Okay, this is our electro refining process. Let us try to solve the numericals based on the pH that I have taught in the last lecture. We'll try to recollect the numericals. How to solve the numerical? I am putting one example here. We'll try to solve. Calculate the pH of the water having 10 to the power minus 7 moles per liter concentration at 25 degrees Celsius. Now I am finding out the solution to this numerical. What is our formula? Let us try to recall the formula first. Our pH was, solution here of this numerical is given as pH equal to minus log of H3O plus ion concentration. Okay, this is our formula that we have studied. Now what we are going to do, look here in the numerical, what is given? We are given the moles per liter, that means we are given the concentration. Okay, so we are given the concentration of the H3O plus ion. Now we'll put it into the data. pH, okay, is equal to minus log of 10 to the power minus 7. Can I write like this? Okay, so this value we have kept the concentration as 10 to the power minus 7. Okay, so now I can solve it further. pH, okay, is equal to this minus and this minus becomes plus, so it will become 7 log 10. You know log 10 is 1, so straight away we are going to get a water pH as a 7. This is a numerical, okay, that you can solve with the help of the simple pH formulas. And the definition of pH, as we have given earlier, was pH is defined as negative logarithm of concentration of H3O plus ions expressed in moles per liter to the base 10. By using this formula, we can calculate any numerical, and any solution pH can be found out by these processes. Let us go ahead with another numerical. Look here, our numerical 2 is calculate pH of 0.2 molar HCl. What does it mean? First of all, we have to see one thing, that is, we have to see that HCl is what? It is a strong acid. Okay, you are aware. HCl is a strong acid. So now I can apply my formula straight away. You can see 0.2 molar, that means concentration is given. So I can write here pH equal to minus log of H3O plus. Okay, this is given. Now what we can do, pH is equal to minus log of, you can write here it is 0.2 given to you. Okay, so we can write here 0.2, that is given. Now you can simply solve it out. pH equal to minus log of, you can solve it here as 2 into 10 to the power minus 1. Okay, this you can solve. Now moving ahead, pH equal to minus log 2. Okay, you can solve with the help of calculator. Log 2 value, this minus becomes plus, so you can write down plus log 10 straight away. Okay, this is clear. Log 10 is basically 1, so you can solve this. You have the value that finally you can land up as log 10, this value, log 2 value is minus 0.3010 plus 1. And finally you can get the solutions by solving this data. This is how the numerical is calculated whenever any concentration is given to you. And if the concentration is not given, then you have to find out. Now suppose if I'll tell you the three basic formulas on which the numericals are going to rule, that is, you can write here straight away. The first formula that while solving any numerical is, to solve numericals, always remember three basic formulas, that is pH, okay, plus POH, that is equal to 14. Another formula, that is pH equal to minus log of H3O plus ions. This is another formula, okay. Then you have POH equal to minus log of OH minus. This is another formula. The four formula are very useful to calculate any pH. Then the fourth formula, very important, you have Kw value that we already derived, okay, that is 1 into 10 to the power minus 14. And this is nothing, this Kw value is nothing but basically product of H3O plus and OH minus. This one has to remember. With the help of, if in the numerical, if you see in the numerical, if you are given the value of the H3O plus ions and you are asked to find out the value of the OH minus ions, then what will happen? You can find out by simply 1 into 10 to the power minus 14 divided by H3O plus ion concentration. This one has to remember while calculating the numericals. What are the factors that are basically affecting the conductivity of the solution? That has to be discussed. Very important factors. If you know the ionization concepts, then all these factors will be very easy for you to determine. That is, you can see very clearly here, the nature of the electrolyte is the first very important factor. You can write here, the nature of electrolyte is again classified into two categories, that is